Hello, gentlemen. Today we're going to break down the MCS finals match between Abram and Torrey, and this ended up being a pretty insane game from start to finish. So we're going to cover as much of this as we can. And as for Abram and Torrey, these are two guys that are making a name for themselves. Torrey, I think, was a regs player that just started to do MUT this year, and he makes a live in his first year competing, which is pretty amazing. And then Abram, he wins the whole thing, and he's one of the smartest guys in the game right now. He takes care of the ball pretty well and has some really creative dots. So let's go ahead and get right into the breakdown. Okay, so the first clip of the game is going to be me mainly talking about abilities. I think that's very important to kind of set the stage because abilities play a really big factor in this game. So let's start with Torrey. Torrey's going to be in, I believe, spread playbook, and he has hot route master instead of set feet lead. And that's going to be, I mean, I understand why he does it in this playbook because you do want to have access to all of those different routes to make some of these off-meta formations viable. Now, the problem is Abram is using two deep out zone KOs. He has one right here with his cornerback on the right, cornerback on the left, and then I think this guy here is on a deep in zone KO, and then he has two free lurk artists right here. Now, the thing with deep out zone KO is it pretty much bags streak corner combos. So let's say circle was on a streak, X was on a corner. The deep out zone KO is going to be able to cover both of these routes, which is kind of ridiculous, but that is the game we play. So if you have set fee lead, you can maybe zip it in there, but without set fee lead, it's very hard to do that. So I just kind of wanted to set the stage real quick and talk about those abilities because they're pretty important in regards to the outcome of this game. Okay, so we have our first high pressure situation of the game. It's 4th and 6. Let's go ahead and take a look at Torrey's dot. Let me go back a second. So this is the perks of having hot route master. You can put your tight end on trails, which one of the best routes in the game in my opinion. And I guess the idea behind this one is clear out here, out route to pull flats to the sideline. If the slot cornerback blitzes, you have this running back wheel and you could throw him hot if it doesn't get usered. But then if he does get usered, you do have this trail backside to kind of fill that void. The problem is Abram plays coverage and there really wasn't anything open. But Torrey did really rush this throw. I think he could have waited longer. The pressure really wasn't coming in yet. But I think he kind of just freaked out and threw this a little early. Now, I probably wouldn't have thrown to the trail. Probably would have thrown to the post late once he clears out. Once X clears out this safety, this post from square is going to cross the safety's face. And he could have thrown him a little bit later, maybe 1 or 2 seconds later. And I think he would have had time to do that. Okay, so this is going to be Abram's first snap on offense, and he's running gun bunch halfback strong out of the Chicago Bears playbook. And what you're going to notice is he motions this running back out in a cross very often, and it's really good for spacing. And this route combination, I think this is wide trail that he's running, is one that he calls a ton. It's like basically just a flood concept, a streak from the tight end, corner route from the slot receiver, and then sometimes it'll be a short corner route from corner strike, or it'll just be like a flat. And then drag will be like his little check down across the middle. So let's go and have a look. You're going to see that he is going to have a lot of faith in this corner route right on the break. And you're going to see that it just doesn't really get played. And this is something he calls like, I don't know, maybe 10 times. He throws to this corner route a ton. And you'll definitely see that multiple times in pretty high pressure situations. Okay, so it's 3rd and 20 now. This is probably a half now, half later situation. It's not about getting the first down. It's about getting probably 10 yards. So he's calling corner strike. We have the C route here. Motions this guy out again, the running back. Then he has the streak corner combo. So this corner from Jerry Rice is going to be a stock corner. It's a short corner that's very, very good. And then he puts his moss on a Slaughter Prentice corner. And he clears out here. So like I said, he's going to go to this kind of concept a lot. This is something that you guys should be implementing into your games. But just notice how he throws it right on the break. Like it looks like it's blind, but it's not. It's perfectly timed. He knows what he's doing with these corner routes. And it's just honestly perfect because that guy's never going to make a play on that. He can maybe knock it out, but he's definitely not going to pick it. So Abram got exactly what he wanted on 3rd down. He got about half of it back, and then he's going to go for it on 4th and get that half. Now, me personally, I think I would have kicked 3 simply because he already turned over Torrey. And you want to take that possession advantage. But when you're someone like Abram, He probably has full confidence in his dots to get this 4th and 8, and I totally get it. But just look at this route combination. It's the exact same stuff that he keeps doing. He's just so good at it, and that's why he probably goes for this 4th and 8, because he's probably done it so many times. It's just wide trail with a streak from the tight end, corner, flat, drag over the middle, backside post. So he's probably looking at this corner route. He's probably staring it down the entire time, if I had to guess. And the problem here is he just doesn't get any separation, and it gets knocked out. If he waits a little bit longer, maybe he gains some separation, but he had to throw it quick. Torrey was sending 5 at him, and you can't risk like taking a sack in the situation. You at least have to give your guy a chance to catch it, and he just didn't come down with it. But overall, I think the dot was really good. You could have maybe thrown the drag. It's just a little scary throwing him when the user's right here and you have to gain an additional 5 yards of rack. It's just not worth it. I think throwing the corner out was really the right move here. Moss just didn't gain any separation. So throughout the game, Abram had maybe 3 big mistakes, and this was one of them. And I'm kind of surprised that he let this happen. But the reason I want to show this is so that you guys can actually think about this critically yourselves. So look at that route combo. It's basically streak here, crosser, and then 2 underneath checkdowns. But I'm going to roll it, and then I'm going to talk about why this was really bad by Abram. Okay, so he ends up juking, getting the touchdown here. So let's just think about this critically. And when you're playing somebody off meta, playing a weird formation like this, it's very easy to not think of these things. But the reason that this touchdown happens, well, there's 2 reasons. One, there's a guy right here that's on a streak. And when you're getting a streak from the numbers, both the outside cornerback and the safety are going to get cleared out, which is really good because this guy has deep out zone KO. This guy has deep in zone KO. Now, the other problem is that we have Abram has this guy here, a hook zone. Then he has like maybe a 5-yard, 10-yard flat right here. So why is he using this short drag basically? Because he's going to run into his help on the left side anyways. So he should be dropping back and defending the deep part of the field. And he does that for a large majority of the game, but in this instance, he doesn't, and he gives up a big touchdown. This next clip is going to be extremely quick. I just wanted to mention it because if you're using set fee lead on your quarterback, you need to be taking advantage of these throws. So let's go ahead and roll it first. You're going to see that he throws this seam streak immediately. And with set feet lead, since you have so much zip on the ball, you can fit it in there between 2 defenders. So when you have streaks on the field, especially from your slots, do not just consider them a clear out route. They are actually a read that you can throw with set feet lead, and he does it right here. Takes full advantage. Just make sure you guys start adding that into your game if you're not actually doing that. So this next clip is really going to be about Torrey, and something that I noticed throughout watching his film is that against Abram, he was blitzing way too much. Like, I don't really understand why he was doing that, especially against this formation. So, like, look, he blitzes this guy, the middle linebacker, blitzes both slot cornerbacks. And against bunch, it's just not smart because you have routes like this tight end wheel that can attack a zone blitz perfectly. He had his outside wheel, he had his tight end wheel. If the running back was on a streak, he could have thrown him. And it's not good, especially when the pressure is not even coming in. Like, look at this. He's only blocking 5. He sends 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has a +1. Like, this guy is going to come in eventually, but he gets blocked by the right tackle. Right tackle basically blocks 2 guys. And just, we don't play a game this year that sending 6 is very smart. Like, you really want to be playing coverage like 90% of the time and sending 3 a majority of the time. And that's kind of the big difference between Abram and Torrey throughout this game. Abram didn't blitz too often, and Torrey definitely did. So we have a 4th and 1, and Abram has something that he goes to a lot throughout the game, not just the corner routes, but he has this backside or ISO side C route that he will just throw right on the break. And with set fee lead, it just gets in there. You'll see Sean Taylor goes out into a flat. He can't get out there in time, and the deep zone's not going to play him either. So this is something you guys should be incorporating. And if you don't spam it, it's not going to get covered. Like, as you can see, he was actually in the perfect opportunity to bait it by using the safety here. But he doesn't know it's coming, so he doesn't actually lurk it and pick it off. And then there's not much to talk about with this clip. It's really just him finishing off his drive, throwing to this RPO, hitting a juke, and getting into the end zone. So that's how he finishes off his drive. Very good drive by Abram. Okay, we now have a defense change by Abram. He's in dime normal now. So he started the game in dollar, and he's now in dime normal. I don't really know the exact reason that caused him to switch. I know he's comfortable in both formations, but you know, you would think that he was getting dotted in dollar, but he really wasn't, in my opinion. I think it was doing just fine. So let me know in the comment section if you think you know why he switched to dime normal, as of right now at least. But I think it maybe has to do with being a little bit better against the run and RPOs. But that's my only guess. So we're now in dime normal, and I think he stays in dime normal for the rest of the game. So now that we've established that Abram is in dime normal now, let's talk about how he uses his dime normal. So he's in a cover 4, and that's really good because of how he has his defense set up. He has a deep out zone KO that will activate on a quarter. Same over here on this cornerback. Deep in zone KO on this safety, he will activate on his inside quarter. And then what I want you to notice is how he plays his shell. He has both of his flats from the slot cornerbacks on 5 yards. That's going to take away any kind of quick throw. And underneath. And then we have the most important part, in my opinion, something that you guys should be doing out of 6-1 or dime normal. And it's putting a free lurk artist, if you can afford it, on your D line and dropping him into a vert hook. And that's what he does with Ray Lewis, and it ends up rewarding him perfectly by getting this pick. Ray Lewis played that like crazy, and Torrey threw it a little bit late, but overall Ray Lewis made a really good play on the ball. Now, one more thing I want to talk about on this play is how Abram really knew what his user responsibility was on this play, because he knew the 5-yard flats were going to take care of business on the sideline. His vert hook was going to play anything immediately over the middle coming from this side. And then he kind of knew that this guy would be on a streak to clear out both his cornerback and safety, and he just has to user above his 5-yard flat, and he does it perfectly. He kind of tries to bait this crosser. Torrey doesn't go for it, and it forces him to throw late across the middle, and he ends up getting a pick and one of the biggest plays of the game. Now in this clip, this is just really good situational awareness by Abram. So there's under a minute left. Torrey has 1 timeout, and what you're going to see is with this dot, Abram could have scored, but he decided not to. So let's go ahead and look. You're going to see us his corner route, and he goes down right here at the 2. Takes Torrey's final timeout. So the reason that I think this is smart is even in the worst case scenario, let's say that you go down at the 2, and then you get stopped on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, and it's now 4th and goal. But the good news is there's no time left, and you can just kick a 3 and go into half. And I think Abram gets the ball at half anyways. So that's the worst case scenario. And if you're at the 2-yard line, you're probably going to score a touchdown anyways. So this is the smart thing to do situationally. Just go down at the 2, take clock. Don't let your opponent have any opportunity to score. But what you're going to see in a second is that Torrey does actually score, which sucks for Abram, but you'll see exactly how it goes down. Okay, so Torrey gets the ball back. There's 13 seconds left and 0 timeouts. In a large majority of cases, people are not giving up any kind of points. Maybe 3 in worst case scenario. Abram ends up giving up 7. Not on this play, but stick with me here because there's a reason I really want to cover this play, because this is a really bad mistake by Abram. So let's think about this from Torrey's point of view. He has a crosser, a streak, a post, and a comeback. Anytime you see comeback, streak, post, somebody is looking to hit the post. You want to hit it right above the comeback because the comeback will hold the deep zone down and the post will get above. Now, the problem with this play is, let's go ahead and run it, and then we'll talk about where Abram went wrong. So you're going to see, boom, right here, gets it to the post. He doesn't get the touchdown here, but he gets out of bounds, and he will go for the touchdown in a second. Now, let's think about it from Abram's point of view. So Abram is for some reason worried about this crosser when he should not have been, because let's think about it like this. We're in a baseline press. This guy here is on the streak. Maybe he didn't know that it was the tight end on the streak, which is fine. But even if it was this guy, he's not on the number, so he's not going to clear out your outside cornerback. So this crosser is not going to get open on the sideline. So if Abram runs with the post instead, so let's imagine this crosser is wide open right now, and he can throw this crosser if he wanted. Well, he's going to get tackled by this outside cornerback more than likely, and he's going to get tackled inbounds, and we're going to halftime. But he just doesn't expect a bomb combination for some reason, and he ends up giving up this huge play. So 6 seconds left. He has time for one more play. So now there's 6 seconds left. This is going to be the final play of the half. He decides to go for the touchdown instead of kicking 3. And I actually do like Torrey's idea here. He's like in this kind of weird spread formation. I forget what it's called exactly. It's, I guess, just double stack maybe. But he clears out for this wheel on the left side. It ends up being really lucky, don't get me wrong, but I don't mind the concept. But as you can see, deep out zone KO activates, kind of goes for a swat, and then he ends up catching it off that bounce, which extremely lucky. Torrey, sends some prayers. He knows how lucky he just got to get a touchdown before half. And, Abram's pissed. He's so pissed. I mean, just a good example of the game we play, guys. Like, we play a pretty bad game. This happens all the time. All right, this is going to be the first play of the second half, and this is just a dot for you guys to take for yourselves. I think this is a really good route combination. It's just gun bunch, halfback strong, Durham. That's the play call. Slot receivers on a post, running backs on a streak, tight ends on a drag. And anytime you have this post and running back on a streak on the same side, it's always going to be very good. So let's go ahead and look at it. So this wheel is going to pull things over. Running back wheel is perfectly in this spot right here. And Abram could have thrown the post or the drag, either one. But Torrey was about to go over there and defend the running back. Would have been a little bit scary. I think he probably could have fit it in. But just a good dot for you guys to add to your scheme. Okay, so we have another 4th down situation. And Abram is going to corner strike yet again. So he has the short corner here, the deep corner, the slot apprentice corner, streak, running back in, and the C route. And he is going to snap throw the C route. He has that much faith in this throw that even though Torrey was on the safety on the same side, he is still going to trust it and fit it in there. And that was a perfect play call and a good trusted dot to convert on the first down. So it's 4th and 10. We have another high pressure situation, and this is where I believe Abram wins the game. Now, it wasn't just this one play, but this is when I kind of figured that he would win because he just has so much faith in his throws. Like, look at this. He throws this crosser, even though there's a defender right there. He knows because he's thrown this so many times that he can get it in there, and that defender's not going to play it. He might be able to knock it out, but he's not going to pick it off. So him having like this kind of confidence in his throwings and his timings is what's converting on these 4th downs. Like he did it with the snap throw C route. He does it with this crosser here. And Abram's just that methodical. You can tell he's played the game a ton and he's made these throws hundreds, if not thousands of times. Next up, we're going to have a red zone dot by Abram. And this is a dot as much as it is bad defense by Torrey. So he hits the corner route. Let's just look at what Torrey's doing on defense because I'm not a huge fan of it. He's sending both his slot cornerbacks. For what reason? I mean, it hasn't worked all game. Right here, definitely doesn't work. He blocks 5. He picks up 5. His outside cornerback is on, I think, a stock flat. It's not even a zone drop. The flat from Rice was open here. Corner route gets open right above the flat. So the flat effectively does nothing. Look at him. He's like standing between everybody. He kind of plays the streak. But both of these flat routes are open, the corner and the actual flat route. So just really bad defense by Torrey, if I'm being honest. He should have been sending 3 way more often with how bad his pressure was. It wasn't actually coming in. So just bad awareness by him. This next clip is just going to be a good example of why deep out zone KO is so good. So it's 3rd and 6, and Torrey, he motions this guy out, and that's oftentimes a tell that you're trying to clear out somebody. So this ends up being a corner out and a streak combo. And just look at how this deep out zone KO plays. He plays the streak and he plays the corner. He's effectively taking away 2 routes. And maybe if he waits just a little bit longer, he can fit that in there. But as you can see, it just gets knocked out. So this is the importance of having deep out zone KOs on your field. I mean, good click on by Abram. But still, this is just really hard to run streak corner combos when your opponent's running deep out zone KO. Okay, so we now have a 4th and 6, and Torrey cooks up a really good dot here. This is how he should have been attacking these KOs. What he does here is actually really, really smart. So let's watch the dot, and then we're going to go back. So what he does is, I don't know if I can see the route combination, but I guess the important thing is, notice how he uses triangle to clear out instead of, circle or square. If he uses square on a streak, it's just going to clear out the outside cornerback. But using triangle here is going to clear out the safety and the outside cornerback. So notice how this outside cornerback squeezes further inside and it opens up this window for the post. So neither of these KOs can activate and knock this ball out. This is exactly how he should have been attacking without set feet lead. So great dot by Torrey. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't realize this a little bit sooner. It's already almost the 4th quarter. But yeah, good dot by Torrey. So Torrey has made his way down the field. It's 4th and 5 on the 8. And obviously you want to convert this and get the touchdown, because if you don't, the game's not quite over, but it does hurt your chances quite a bit. So let's go ahead and roll it and see what happens. And in my opinion, this is one of the rare cases where both guys get a little unlucky. Torrey definitely gets, the short end of the stick by not converting. His feet don't get down. For a second, it looks like it is a touchdown, but it's not. But I guess where it's unlucky for Abram is, I feel like Mike Evans probably should have made a play on that. It just goes like right through his hands, kind of. But Mike Evans does step inside a little bit, so I'm not like super upset with it. He recovers and almost makes a play. But unlucky for Torrey, he ends up turning the ball over. So after that turnover, Abrams had a couple plays, and it's now 4th and 7, and this is a great opportunity for him to put the game away pretty much. Not completely. You need to watch the rest of the video to see what happens. But yeah, 4th and 7, you convert this, the chances of you winning are very high. So let's have a look. He calls Durham with this wheel, this post, running back streak, and the drag. Great play call. Clicks onto the wheel on the outside because he sees that this slot cornerback blitzes. And you're going to have this wheel every single time. When a cornerback blitzes from the slot, you probably have this wheel. Clicks on perfectly, ends up going down, and then I believe he ends up kicking 3 after, what is it? Let's see how much time he has left. Yeah, so right here, 29 seconds left, 4th and 23, ends up kicking 3. And then you guys will see what happens in just a second. All right, this is going to be the end of the game, and I'm just going to kind of let it roll from here for the most part. And the only way Torrey can win is if he houses this kick, and he ends up doing just that. As you can see, he finds a hole, he jukes, and he returns it. And Abram is just sick at the idea of him maybe losing this game. Because if I'm being honest, Torrey has fluked him quite a bit, and this is just another example. I mean, just look at that face. He's not having a good time. I mean, he will in a second when he wins the belt, but in this moment, there's that thought in his head that he's maybe losing this game. And you now need the onside kick, and if you guys are paying attention to my uploads, I did post this kick the other day because I saw it from Torrey, and this is the best onside kick I've ever seen. It goes perfectly right here, 10 yards, and his guy just ends up whiffing on it, doesn't quite recover it. And if he did, I mean, he wasn't guaranteed to win or anything, because it's 16 seconds and no timeouts left. But when you have that many things go your way, part of me thinks that Torrey maybe would have won the game if he recovers that, just because that's just how Madden works. Like, you have like this weird like fluke momentum, if that makes sense. I've just noticed that's a thing. But this was a really fun game to watch between these two guys, and I enjoy watching, both of them. Abram has kind of like more of a meta approach, and Torrey has an off-meta approach, and I really appreciate anybody who's willing to be off-meta, and especially anybody who makes a live event running off-meta. Anyways, great game by both of them. Really enjoyed watching it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Please drop a like if you did. Really helps the channel grow. And then subscribe for more Madden 24 content like this. And then lastly, if you guys want to win more games, I do in-depth breakdowns on acemadden.com. Become a member and you'll gain access to every single scheme that I have on the site. See you guys later.